The teasers dropped, the fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was it was turned upside down. I mean, a single Billboard ranking didn't just list songs, it ignited a massive fandom war.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu Wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
It's just so wild, right? Have you ever seen a single chart position cause a fandom meltdown of this magnitude? Because the sheer scale of the outrage we are looking at today is just unprecedented, even for K-pop.
No, never. And that's our mission for this deep dive. For you listening, we're going to figure out exactly how we got here.
Yeah, we have to unpack all of it.
Right. We are exploring the explosive fan reactions to Billboard's mid-2026 Top 25 K-pop songs list, breaking down the highly polarizing comeback of HYBE's rookie group CORTIS, and examining how their song REDRED went from being called literal brain rot.
Literal brain rot.
To actually penetrating national politics. So let's jump right into this Billboard ranking that effectively broke the internet.
Let's go.
So this was a staff picks list published in mid-July, the 25 best K-pop songs of 2026 so far. And according to Sportal Korea, the top 3 spots were practically bulletproof. Like, nobody was arguing with them at all.
Right. I mean, the top 3 were critically acclaimed, like universally respected across all the fandoms.
Yeah.
At number 1, you had the rookie girl group Kiiikiii with 404, New Era.
Oh, such a good track.
It really is. It's this incredibly sleek, deep house track about, disconnecting from your smartphone. And then at number 2, Hearts 2, Hearts Delivered, or OD.
Right, which is just pure, sophisticated Gen Z confidence wrapped in this driving house beat.
Exactly. And then at number 3, you had the legendary brother-sister duo AKMU. And they stripped away their usual, colorful pop sound for this very acoustic, quiet country shuffle rhythm with Paradise of Rumors.
So if you're a Knetz, a domestic Korean netizen, or, an international fan looking at this list, you're nodding along, you've got diverse sounds, respected artists, undeniable quality.
Yeah, everyone's happy.
But because the top 3 were all girl groups or co-ed acts, it left this massive target on whoever landed at number 4.
Oh, it really did.
And number 4 was CORTIS with their track REDRED. Now, the spark that ignited this powder keg wasn't even the Billboard article itself, which is crazy.
No, it wasn't. It was X.
Yeah. It was a massive X account, formerly Twitter, called @AboutMusicYT. They fired off a tweet claiming that Billboard had officially named REDRED the best K-pop boy group song of 2026.
Which is, technically true based on the ranking.
Yeah.
But phrasing it as the definitive best boy group song was like throwing a match into a fireworks factory.
Seriously.
The reaction across X and Reddit was just visceral. The outrage wasn't just typical fan bickering. It was absolute chaos.
Total chaos.
Fans were immediately mobilizing, calling it an unserious list. They were so quick to point out that these were just the subjective picks of Billboard staff, heavily driven by journalist Jeff Benjamin, actually.
Right.
It wasn't some objective mathematical metric based on streams or sales.
Yeah, I was reading through the specific reactions captured by Sportskeeda and the Reddit threads, and they were pulling no punches at all. One user literally called REDRED, quote, brain rot for 9-year-olds.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the brain rot allegations were literally everywhere. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the fandoms weren't just criticizing the song. They were criticizing the entire current era of the industry.
Oh, they were weaponizing K-pop history.
Exactly. They were lamenting the current state of fifth-gen music by comparing it to the gold standard of 2016 boy group eras.
Which is a fascinating comparison, I saw one user specifically point out that a decade ago, the average boy group song was EXO's Monster.
Oh, Monster is iconic.
If you know Monster, you know it's peak K-pop. Flawless vocal layering, intricate melodies, incredibly tight choreography. And fans are looking at that 2016 standard and then looking at REDRED in 2026, and they are essentially accusing HYBE of lowering the bar.
Yeah, the accusation is that HYBE is just, throwing their massive corporate budget around to pay for fame, like force this group into the spotlight, regardless of the musical quality.
Right. The crossfire got so intense that other fandoms started catching stray bullets. Even Blackpink got dragged into the Reddit debates.
No way, really?
Yeah. Fans started arguing over whether Blackpink's song Go was their worst track to date, simply because it was also featured on this exact same Billboard list. The list itself just became tainted in their eyes.
Wow, it just poisoned everything on it.
It really did. The whole dynamic feels exactly like a bitter sports rivalry. It's not just that your rival team won the championship, it's like they won it on a technicality. The referee made the call, the stats and official rankings are printed in black and white, but the opposing crowd in the stadium utterly refuses to accept the results.
Yeah, they are completely rejecting the authority of the gatekeepers.
Exactly.
That's the perfect way to look at it. The gatekeepers, the Billboard staff, made a ruling on what constitutes good music, and the broader K-pop fandom just rejected the referee's call entirely.
But wait, why is this specific track causing such a violently negative reaction? Because, brain rot is a heavy accusation.
It really is.
And honestly, that's not even the wildest part of this comeback. Wait until you hear how this track actually sounds and the visual concept they paired with it. But before we get into that, if you love staying updated on your bias and the rest of the industry, make sure you're subscribed to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
So to understand the backlash, we really have to look at the history of CORTIS and the specific label they were trying to outrun.
Right. Let's look at the facts for you guys. CORTIS is a 5-member multinational boy group under Big Hit Music, which is under the HYBE umbrella. The lineup is James, Jihoon, Martin, Seongyeon, and the maknae, Kyunho.
Great lineup.
Yeah, and they debuted in August 2025. And almost immediately, they were hit with one of the most toxic labels you can get in this industry.
Oh, the absolute worst. Netizens branded them a visual-only group with weak music.
Yeah, basically they were called dozens. That's the slang for idols who supposedly can't sing or rap, but are just pretty faces relying entirely on HYBE's massive branding machine.
And if you follow K-pop, you know that the visual-only curse is almost impossible to shake.
It's a death sentence sometimes.
Right. Once the domestic netizens decide you haven't earned your spot musically, they will rip apart everything you release. So going into their second mini-album, Green Green, which dropped on May 4, 2026, the pressure was immense. They had to prove they weren't just manufactured mannequins.
And the result was monumental. I mean, we're talking about 2.31 million first-week album sales.
Unbelievable.
Okay, wait, I have to push back here. How does a group that was completely written off as untalented by the internet suddenly push 2.3 million physical albums in a single week? Like, is that organic growth? Or is this just HYBE weaponizing its marketing budget to create the illusion of success?
Well, I mean, it's a mix, but you cannot ignore the sheer abrasive brilliance of the Green Green concept. It wasn't an illusion. It was a deliberate shock to the system.
Okay, break that down for me.
So let's look at the title track, REDRED, because this explains the brain rot allegations. The Bias List actually published a phenomenal review of this track. It's not your standard polished K-pop anthem. It is an aggressive rage hip-hop track overflowing with incredibly heavy auto-tune. It has a completely chaotic, almost inaccessible structure.
It really does. Like the melody and the verses and the chorus basically blend into this monotonous chant-sung mush.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's layered over this driving, high BPM dance beat. The Bias List actually compared the production to intense Norwegian pop and rave culture.
And that's the key right there.
Right.
It's designed to be abrasive. It's meant to overwhelm your senses. If the criticism was that they were too polished, too visual, and too manufactured, well, CORTIS responded by releasing a track that sounds like a chaotic underground rave.
Which makes perfect sense when you actually analyze the lyrics, which, by the way, were written by the members themselves.
Right.
The symbolism is the whole point of the song. Red symbolizes conformity. It represents paying too much attention to haters, pretending to be cool, polishing your image, and walking on eggshells.
Right, like stopping at a red light just because society tells you to.
Exactly. And green, on the other hand, represents authenticity. It's about ignoring the red flags of social pressure, embracing the noise, and just pushing forward.
Exactly. The chaotic sound is the message. The auto-tune and the noise are a deliberate rebellion against the polished, conformist K-pop standards that fans were comparing them to. And they paired this with a promotion strategy that was completely off the wall. Like, they didn't just drop a standard performance video. You have to look at the music video for their B-side track, ACI.
Oh, that video is insane.
It is heavily inspired by Gen Z surrealist humor. We're talking bizarre donkey motifs appearing randomly across desolate deserts and inside sterile hospitals. It makes absolutely no logical sense on the surface.
No, it feels like a fever dream. But the underlying message was emphasizing substance over superficiality. Like, they were directly responding to the image-first criticism by giving fans visuals that were intentionally weird, ugly and hard to digest. It was a massive risk.
It was, and initially it seemed like the risk might actually backfire. But Knetz and international fans initially reacted with total confusion. They deemed REDRED as noisy and inaccessible.
Yeah, the comments were rough.
But then the perceptions drastically shifted. And it wasn't because people suddenly understood the deep symbolism of the donkey in the hospital.
Yeah.
It was because of the live performances.
The fan cams.
Yes. Fan cams of Sangyeon and Martin went astronomically viral on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Their stage presence was just so explosive, so raw, and unpolished in a good way that it forced the general public to pay attention.
It's like the live stages saved the song.
Completely saved it.
And this translates into the most mathematically absurd part of this whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Against all odds, this polarizing, abrasive, rage hip-hop track secured a MelOn Top 100 #1.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah. For you listening, we know how notoriously difficult it is for 4th and 5th gen boy groups to crack the MelOn Top 100. That chart usually heavily favors girl groups and general public-friendly tunes. You know, easy listening, melodic pop. Hitting #1 with a track that sounds like a Norwegian rave shouldn't technically be possible without extreme public streaming traction.
Right, which proves they broke out of their niche fandom bubble. I mean, it was the closest thing to a domestic all-kill for a 5th-gen boy group in recent memory.
The irony here is just incredible, though. Like, think about it. The song literally tells listeners to ignore red flags and conformity, and they prove their point by forcing a highly unconventional, abrasive sound right up the mainstream charts.
Yeah, they really did.
Earlier, I compared it to wearing chaotic streetwear to a black tie event. But it's more than that. It's not just wearing streetwear. It's bringing 2.3 million of your closest fans in streetwear to the black tie event. So suddenly the people in tuxedos are the ones who look completely out of place.
Exactly. They rewrote the dress code.
They absolutely did.
They didn't conform to the charts. They made the charts conform to them. And that brings us to the mechanism of how they actually achieved that. Because you don't get 2.3 million people in streetwear to show up at the exact same time without serious militarized coordination.
Exactly. And later in this deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking plot twist involving this song that nobody saw coming. Hint. It goes way beyond the charts and straight into the highest levels of government.
Oh, I can't wait for that part.
But first, let's unpack how a fandom orchestrates a cultural takeover like this. Because we have a fascinating case study here from ISMIR, the International Society for Music Information Retrieval.
Yes.
They published an academic analysis of BTS and their fandom, REDRED, but the mechanics apply perfectly to CORTIS and their fandom, COER.
Yeah, this ISMAR study is crucial for understanding modern K-pop because it fundamentally changes how we view fans. It shows that fandoms are not just passive consumers anymore.
Right.
They aren't just sitting by the radio waiting for corporate DJs to decide what's popular. They are essentially a decentralized digital labor force that is unionized to wrest control of music curation away from traditional gatekeepers.
That is such a powerful way to frame it. Unionized digital labor. The study details exactly how they do this. Fans use organized, highly strategic streaming to completely bypass Western radio.
Yep.
They coordinate on platforms like X and Reddit, distributing specific streaming guides. We're talking about rules on how to loop songs, when to clear caches, how to use VPNs to target specific regional charts.
It's like a full-time job.
It really is. And they do this because they crave agency. They want to know their actions are directly pushing their bias to the top, regardless of whether the industry critics actually like the song.
And because they act as a unified labor force, they demand transparency from the platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, remember a few years ago when fans demanded Billboard recalculate streams for BTS because they felt the numbers were filtered unfairly?
Oh, absolutely.
That exact same organized, aggressive fandom power is what COER mobilized for CORTIS. They took a song that was getting dragged in the comments and brute forced it into mainstream global success.
And the milestones reflect that sheer force. Because of this organized streaming, CORTIS entered Billboard's bubbling under Hot 100 chart just 9 months after their debut.
9 months. That is lightning fast for a group facing this much domestic pushback.
Yeah. And it culminated in them winning Best New Artist in the K-pop category at the iHeartRadio Music Awards.
It just proves that the brain rot allegations from rival fans simply couldn't withstand the organized, strategic force of a dedicated fandom. The fans decided the song was a hit, and they manufactured the data to prove it to the world.
But here's the shocking plot twist we promised earlier. The success of REDRED didn't just stay contained to music charts or, fandom wars on Reddit.
No, it did not.
According to a recent report from the Korea Times, the Hallyu Wave has officially crashed into the middle-aged political establishment in South Korea.
This is where the story jumps from pop culture trivia into a
Yeah.
true societal phenomenon.
Yeah, looking at the report from the Korea Times, it's fascinating to see this play out on a political level. Now, just to be completely clear to you listening, we're looking at this strictly through a cultural lens. We are not endorsing any politicians or taking sides. We're just focusing on how this specific song is being utilized by politicians on both sides of the aisle to signal generational shifts.
Right, exactly. We're just reporting the facts here. But the cultural impact is undeniable. So here's what happened. South Korea's newly appointed Prime Minister, Han Song-suk, actually quoted REDRED during her parliamentary confirmation hearing.
Just let that sink in for a second. A high-stakes parliamentary confirmation hearing, and she stood up and quoted the specific verse. "Stop holding back, REDRED. The traffic light has turned green, green."
I mean, can you imagine? She used the lyric to symbolize crossing political barriers and leaving outdated conformist attitudes behind.
Wow.
She even mentioned that her younger sibling is a CORTIS fan, which is how she got exposed to their music in the first place. Now, the Korea Times noted something really crucial about this choice.
Oh, what's that?
They pointed out that this was a deliberate strategic contrast to a prominent right-wing politician, former People Power Party leader Han Dong-hoon, because he had previously quoted the legendary 90s singer Seo Taiji to represent generational change.
And this is where the political messaging gets so interesting, because Seo Taiji is an absolute legend. He's literally the president of culture from the 90s, but quoting him is safe.
Right, it's nostalgia.
Exactly. Prime Minister Han instead chose a rookie group that debuted just last year with a highly controversial, abrasive song to make her point. Quoting CORTIS is immediate. It's aggressive Gen Z disruption. It's a much sharper political knife.
Oh, definitely. And the fandom reaction to this was sheer disbelief. You go on X, and COER fans are losing their minds.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, a track that was fiercely debated online, dismissed by critics as noisy, and literally called brain rot for 9-year-olds by rival stands, is now being officially cited in high-level government hearings to represent political progress.
It is the ultimate proof of how K-pop transcends its target demographic. It's no longer just youth culture, it is the national culture.
Yeah.
When a fifth-gen rage hip-hop track becomes a talking point in Parliament, you know the landscape has fundamentally shifted. If you want to keep tracking these wild cultural shifts with us, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update.
It really makes you step back and look at the entire trajectory of this comeback. Because CORTIS starts with the heavy stigma of being a visual-only group, right? And to fight it, they drop a track that sounds like a Norwegian rave dripping in heavy auto-tune.
Right.
It causes an absolute fandom war over a Billboard staff ranking. Fans weaponize 2016 K-pop history against them. But through sheer, organized fandom labor, they sell 2.3 million albums, force an all-kill on MelOn, and it ends up being quoted by the Prime Minister of South Korea.
Which leaves us with a massive, lingering question for you to mull over. What does the success of REDRED actually mean for the future of K-pop? Like, if a song heavily criticized as noise and brain rot can simultaneously top Billboard staff lists, break sales records, and be quoted by a prime minister, well, perhaps the very definition of a good K-pop song is permanently changing. Are we watching the industry move entirely away from the polished, traditional vocal perfection and structured melodies of the past toward pure, unadulterated, viral chaos?
It's a great question.
The old blueprint for what makes a hit song might just be permanently broken, and we are officially entering a brand new, very loud era.
It's a fascinating and noisy shift to watch unfold.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu Wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.